Well, I mean, as I said in my review of Clown House, did the double feature of two movies directed by PDF files, since YouTube won't let me use the actual word. People who like kids way, way too much. Now, granted, this film I do think is much better than Clown House. This film I could actually watch on its own. Aside from a few iffy moments, for the most part, you could watch it and still enjoy the film as this silly, goofy, weird horror movie, but like PG-13, like horror movie. Definitely has a tongue-in-cheek quality to it. But yeah, the Willies. This is a paid request from Phil. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, movie reviews, re-reviews, feel free and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is another one of those that I'm like, you know what, let me just do the review. It was a paid request, thank you, and just get out of the way. The only way I would ever talk about this or Clown House again is if it was a paid request, I guess, for a commentary or commentary with the guys on Dead Pit or something like that. Oh, by the way, just like with Clown House, the guys at Dead Pit did a really good, solid video called Tragedies in Tinseltown that they go through this stuff. So I'm going to put that link. Feel free to watch that after this. They do great stuff, CT and Uncle Bill. So, The Willies was directed by Brian Peck. Brian Peck was Scuzz in Return of the Living Dead. And he's also a P to the E to the D to the O PDF file. Quiet on Set documentary on Nickelodeon came out. All the stuff that this guy did to Drake from Drake and Josh. And then Drake, apparently later on, he had some very questionable things he did later. Which I'm not going to get into, but yeah, Brian Peck. One of the reasons why I don't watch that Return of the Living Dead documentary more Brian's because he narrated the damn thing. And he's all over the damn thing. I'm like, great, I gotta listen to this pile of shit. So yeah, Brian Peck. I think the only film he directed, and this film will never get a physical release. You're not going to see a Blu-ray because people go, wait, that's directed by Brian Peck, the guy, the Quiet on Set one. And what's crazy is like Brian Peck, he did this skit on Nickelodeon where he starred in Pickle Boy. Here's all these pickles. Oh, these pickles. Giving the kids. There's a bit where the pickle goes through a fucking glory hole. And they thought this was right. Now me, I never watched that stuff because I never had Nickelodeon as a kid. Thank fucking God. Once in a while my aunt would send me like Ren and Stimpy or Doug. Thank God it was only that. And not this shit. Or that shit. But anyway. As I was saying, I don't know what the fuck. Well, yeah. Somehow, like, he went to jail or something. He came back. He still got to work. And still got to work on kids' TV stuff. Oh, I think he was doing, like, voiceover or stuff. I mean, what? Oh, his buddy. And then people defending him, writing letters. Ryder Strachan and James Marsden, all these guys writing letters. Oh, well, James Marsden never said anything, so fuck him. Ryder Strachan and Will Friedle. Oh, but now that this Quiet on Set came out, no, we apologize. No, you should apologize back then. And then they always make it about themselves. fucking Hollywood. It's stuff like that that just... So many times I just go, just have Hollywood shut down. Stop making movies. To quote a great friend of mine, which I hope he's doing well. But fuck Hollywood, stop making movies, man. But yeah, I know I'm like 5 minutes in. So the Willies came out, I don't know, it was 1990, 1991. It's an anthology in a way, where Sean Astin is in the film. A few years later, he being Rudy, but I think he was in a bit of a slump. I don't even think he had done Toy Soldiers yet, which is a good movie. James Taryn, who was in Return of the Living Dead, he's in this. Michael Ray Bauer, who's on the show Salute Your Shorts. I think the character's name was like Donkey Lips. But Michael Ray Bauer, I know Wet Movie 1, YouTuber, he's good friends with Michael Ray Bauer. Clu Gulager, he has like one or so scenes. He was in Return of the Living Dead. And the other recognizable people. Dana Ashbrook, who was in Twin Peaks. I remember him from Waxwork, where he's in the werewolf segment. I'm hypnotized. I could have did a hot shit. No, I did a dick. He's in the bit with the fast food chicken, which I'll get to. Kirk Cameron, I guess you would say also his co-star Tracy Gold. So somehow Brian Peck got Sean Astin and Kirk Cameron, and well, I mean, Kirk Cameron's another weirdo for different reasons. So the setup, the wraparound, are these three kids telling stories and trying to tell a more and more and more disgusting story. So you have Sean Astin, they have these other two. The other two are brothers, and they're in a tent. And the first 10 or 12 minutes is just them kind of telling little stories. So one tells a story about this fast food, and this lady got some chicken, bit into it, and found out it was a fried rat. That's where Dana Ashbrook is like one of the other customers. One tells a story about this haunted house, like attraction. And I guess it was so hardcore. One zombie comes out and his arm gets ripped off. One woman comes out and gets her throat slit, but when her throat slit is green. And then some other one like tries to grab him. And then when the ride's over, you find out the old guy died of a heart attack. And then one is this lady was washing her poodle, so she put the poodle in the microwave. When it was done, before she opened it, the poodle explodes into like brown lasagna. I guess they made it not look like bloods for the rating, but it's like this brown, I get like brown cat food, but lasagna. Now, if I understand, number one, that poodle scene, I think if there's other cuts of the film, that they cut that out. But the full version is on YouTube. There's one like an hour and 20 some, and one like an hour and 30. And the one that's hour and 30 has that scene in it. But it's done in such a silly, ridiculous, that it wasn't ghastly. It was just, again, because it dinged and the poodle is fine. And then, even though it's not heating anymore, then it just randomly explodes. And then, because it's not blood, it's not red, it's just more, again, brown. And they look like if lasagna mixed with cat food. So it makes it kind of darkly comedic. Same with the fast food rat chicken thing. Darkly comedic. The thing with the haunted attraction, I thought it was rather weak. And I guess it was ahead of its time because what the McKinsey, was it McKinsey Mansion? The one that was so hardcore that it would, people would be like, I forget what the hell it was called, McKinsey Man. I'd have to look it up again. More hardcore horror attraction. Well, this was before that. But that one just kind of stuck out. It just kind of... Like the others are trying to be more like ghastly, disgusting. And this just felt out of place. It's the one story out of all of them that just didn't like it fit with the rest of the narrative. That's one I would have cut out. But anyway... Then the credits start, and then Sean Astin's going to tell a story to the other two, and then the other two are going to tell a story to Sean Astin. So it's mainly two stories after the three little ones. And I guess maybe technically you could say this is a sequel to The Goonies, because Sean Astin's character is Michael, which in The Goonies it was Mighty. And the one kid goes, "You're not going to tell that story again about you and your friends finding that pirate ship in that old cave, are you?" And he's like, "No, this one's better." So, technically you say this is a sequel to The Goonies. Which makes the ending even more weird. So the first of the two stories is this kid being bullied. And this shot here, the three bullies, like comically evil, they tie the kid up, and when the other kids and James Taryn, who is in, he was in the original Poltergeist, who Craig T. Nelson goes, "You just moved the headstones." And again, he was in Return of the Living Dead 1 and 2. When the kid's hanging there, the hose is between his legs, dangling like this. But literally, the kid's tied up. Something's in his mouth like a baby pacifier. And the way the hose is tied up, right by his crotch, is the hose dangling like this. Flopping around. Like a dick. Because Brian Peck is thinking of kid dick. I would just go... And also, a lot of the actors are kids. Technically, the three little stories, those were adults. You do have James Taryn. Sean Astin, I wouldn't call a kid. So there are adults, but there's a good chunk of kids here in this film too. But I would say I do like the story. The idea of this kid being bullied, and he wants to get to his bathroom and see James Taryn because it's his friend, treat him well. Sees a monster on the toilet. I don't mind the look of the creature. It doesn't move the most fluid, smoothly, but I appreciate the practical effects. I don't mind the design. The kid gets freaked out. I guess spoilers. The teacher, who I recognize the lady, she was in Gremlins 2. If you remember in Gremlins 2, the lady who had the cook show, was it Microwave Marge or whatever her name was? Again, the lady who had the cook show. She's in this as the teacher. She takes the kid, "What are you talking about? There's nothing here," and the kid's like, and she gets attacked, grabbed. Again, it's PG-13, so you're not going to see a whole lot of blood and gore. But she gets dragged, and you see a little bit of blood. So it's definitely a dark, ghastly turn. Then eventually those bullies get in. He locks the door on the bullies, and the bullies get killed. I mean, you don't see, but you get the idea. Either getting pulled into the ceiling, or getting grabbed like this, or screaming. And then Clu Gulager, who was in Return of the Living Dead, he was the dad in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. He comes in, he's like the principal, he has like one scene, what the hell happened here? And looks at the blood in the bathroom. So, I mean, it's kind of ballsy to have a PG-13 horror film that does involve kid death, in this case 3 of them. And then I guess the idea is that James Tarrant moved to another school, and he's still doing it. If it's a bad apple, if it's a bad kid, he's going to take care of it. Now, I like James Tarrant. It's always nice to see him. I think he was a good underrated actor. So it was always a pleasure to see him. I liked his performance. I like the concept of a janitor killing the bad kids, the bad evil kids. I kind of wish we saw more of the kid who was bullied realizing it's James Tarrant, realizing, and maybe like James Tarrant's a bit worried of what the kid will do, but then the kid will keep a secret. And then like James Tarrant, maybe he's like the creature, but then James Tarrant's voice comes out, or which you do see. I think it's interesting effect. You see him putting his human mask back on. I like that effect. I like that idea of this weird creature put on this human costume. Kind of like what would happen later in Men in Black. You had that bud-like creature and put on the skin of Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh, is that better? You know. So there you go, before Men in Black. So I do like that idea. It would have been nice to see interactions with the kid and James Tarrant after that. I think there could be some interesting story beats or connection, or, wow, James Tarrant's like, wow, this kid really does care for me, or really does, he's protecting my identity, and blah, blah, blah. Or just see what the kid did later. He kind of just runs off and that's it. Does he feel regret? Does he feel remorse? Does he not feel remorse? So I actually would like to have seen that story go a little bit longer. That's just me, though. But I like the concept. And then the 2 kids with Sean Astin, they tell a different story about this kid they knew called Gordy Belcher. Now, I don't know why. For some reason, I always think this is the film where there's a scene where someone like pukes a lot. It's not this movie. I don't know what movie I'm thinking of, though. It's not The Sandlot. It's one kid in some kind of contest, and then they puke. I don't know what movie that is I keep thinking about. Again, for some reason I kept thinking it was the Willies, but it's not. I don't know what movie that is. It was a 80s, 90s movie, I know that. But Gordy Belcher is played by Michael Ray Bauer, who again was in Salute Your Shorts. Now, again, thanks to Dead Pit, check out their video. Again, the link will be down in the info box. They had this video of an interview that Michael Ray Bauer had done, where he mentioned how Brian Peck, because Michael Ray Bauer, it was just him and his dad. His dad said, well, I don't know if I can really get off work. You're going to be working for like 10 to 14 days. I need to work because that's thousands of dollars we can't afford. And they weren't really getting paid yet for the movie. Some like deferred payment. So Brian Peck goes, oh, I'll get us a hotel room. You can live, we could be here. And then the father found out and he said, nope. No, fuck that shit. So the dad was being a good dad. a sensible dad. He talked to, and then some agency who was with Michael Ray Bauer said, you know what, we'll get taken care of. I'm going to give you guys some money. Talk to the father's, job bosses. And that way the dad was able to be with the son on set. And Brian Peck got pissed. That's what Michael Ray Bauer said. He said that Brian Peck got pissed. But I paid for this hotel room. See, the thing with this story, it's the same shit that Brian Peck would eventually do to Drake, of Drake and Josh. Hotel room, come with me. Maybe try to turn father and son against each other. Only the father, in Michael Ray Bauer's sense, understood early on that something was up, and no, that's bullshit. Nope. So good on the dad. Good on the dad for noticing soon that was weird, because it is weird. And you hear that stuff. Do I hate this film? No. I think this film, there's some interesting special effects. There's some very weird moments that make things interesting. And the concept of the story is kind of original. A janitor that kills bad kids, and is James Taryn? Okay. And this Gordy as this kid who has this weird, creepy obsession with flies. So he'll collect flies, take their limbs or wings off, after killing them, and then has like a little diorama of like a diner and a church. He puts these dead flies around. Very strange, very original. I've never seen the movie really do that kind of stuff. Like, that's so fucking weird. So, I mean, same with, and also, like, he's a scumbag kid. No redeeming values. But I think Michael Ray Bauer plays it well. Unlike, say, Return to Sleepaway Camp, where that kid, was it Alan in Return to Sleepaway Camp? Number one, that guy did such a horrible fucking job. Number two, that script, like, wanted us to feel sorry for him, but then he does all these despicable things. No, here, you're not meant to feel sorry for him. He is a weirdo. I mean, he pets a cat, then scares it, so it runs across the road, so his truck almost hits this lady. He'll go in to try to steal this guy's fertilizer for his flies to use before he kills them. This girl that tries to be nice, he does this trick to feed her a cookie, and the cookie has dead flies in it instead of raisins. So this kid gets what he deserves. But I do think Michael Ray Bauer plays him well enough, where it's not so fucking aggravating as that fucking kid from Return to Sleepaway Camp. Like, that's how you do that kind of thing poorly. With the writer, the director, the actor, everything was poorly. Here is doing it because Michael Ray Bauer is not acting that way all the fucking time in every scene, which makes it more manageable to watch. So it becomes like a Tales from the Crypt type of episode. Person doing bad things get their just desserts. In this case, I did some really weird dreams where he visualizes Kirk Cameron and Tracy Gold from Growing Pains talking to him, and then sees himself in a fridge as a corpse, or maggots. Oh, that was another thing. Brian Peck said, hey, could you do this scene naked? And he's like, no. We can wear underwear. No, how about wear my pajamas? Okay. So thus he wore his pajamas. But, I mean, why would he be naked. Not everyone sleeps naked, Brian Peck. I'm doing this because it pisses me off. But this guy wants to get even for Michael Ray Bauer's character for being a dick. Well, here's the special fertilizer I have. Gordy takes it, uses it. After the parents said enough is enough, this is bullshit, took all of his other shit away. He had a couple left. But they grow to be huge. Getting some interesting practical effects. The parents come in, they find that the kid's arms have been torn off. And then the flies have their, like, ready to eat it. And Gordy, I mean, to be fair, I mean, well, not fair, but I kind of found it interesting that they could have ended it there. They could have ended it where he's kind of there with his arms gone. But I kind of like the step that went further, where he's in a hammock, and then he does this, and you see that he's got prosthetic arms. Something about that I thought, okay, that's actually kind of more of a fitting ending. Because as the others say, well, now the kids make fun of him and treat him like shit, like they did to him. Like, he did to them. Which, I mean, I didn't see him terrorize a lot of kids, just but that one girl with the cookie and the flies. Which, I mean, hell, that's enough. But now they don't do it after him, and it's prosthetics, but it's hooks. I said, well, yeah, there you go. Now he's going to live the rest of his life like that, get what he deserves. So I thought that was kind of an interesting way to end it. You have very weird giant fly creatures and, you know, janitor monsters. Again, at least made it feel different. With a weird, like, sense of humor to it. That ends with Sean Astin with the two kids. And you find out that Sean Astin's dad is James Tarrant, who takes off his face. I guess he's going to kill the two other kids, even though it's their cousins? Or what? Which I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, if that's their uncle, then wouldn't their dad also be a creature as well? Which then wouldn't be the kids be creatures as well? Because they say it's their uncle. I'm assuming they didn't say uncle like in-law, or this is a father-in-law to Sean Astin. He said dad. Unless maybe it is, I don't know. But I thought he said dad's brother, whatever. Does it okay, well, if he's a monster, then he'd be related. Does that mean Sean Astin's a creature? Does that mean Mighty from the Goonies is a creature all alone? That'd be a hell of a twist. Sean Astin, the Goonies, was a monster the whole fucking time. Just like his dad, James Tarrant. But does he kill the other two kids? He's going towards them, so I don't know. But that doesn't even follow his philosophy, because his philosophy is to go after bad kids. But these two were not bad kids. They weren't bad apples. They didn't do anything wrong, so it would negate the rules that was set up earlier. Honestly, I know this may sound stupid. I'd rather him you think he's going to go after him, but then he like starts talking James Tarrant's voice. You be good now. You be some good apples. Or whatever the hell the line could be. Shh. Keep this between us. You know, something like James Tarrant could come up with. Something more creative than what the fuck I did. And then he turns to the camera as the creature and does like a wink. That may seem goofy, but that would be in tone with the movie as a goofy, silly, weird movie. And it would kind of make more sense in the story where he only went after bad kids, so why would he go after these kids? And also, why would he go after his own family? Oh, it's just meant to be a shot. You're not supposed to think about it that deeply. Well, I'm fucking doing it anyway, so sue me. But I think of like the April Fool's Day, the original, where you had the doll, and then the doll went, the wink, and then you had the, too bad you're crazy, too bad you're loony as hell. Which, I always enjoyed that. I love that movie, April Fool's Day, the original. I actually didn't get the Tino Lorber release, I just realized. Looking at my shelf. But anyway. But the Willies, it's not as noticeable and fresh as a film, because as far as we know, Brian Peck did not do anything on the movie. He might have, if Michael Ray Bauer's dad wasn't smart to, well, that's a bit weird. So we might have had a situation like that. Unless something comes out and you find out something else. But yeah, the fact that fucking Brian Peck directed this, it does still leave a bit of a sour taste. There's not as much of his fetishism put into the film, unlike Victor Salva did in every fucking film he made. So I like some of the actors. Sean Astin does fine. I like James Karen. Michael Ray Bauer I thought did fine. Didn't mind him for what he was given to do as this terrible character. Which, one of the first lines is the one guy going, "You lard ass." It was an interesting film. I saw this film like once or twice before. And yeah, this film is never going to get released on physical media because of Brian Peck. And I'm not surprised. I think that's reasonable. And that cover, I always remember that cover. I know there's a different poster, but that's the one I always remember. And if you like weird movies, it's definitely entertaining enough. And has, again, that silly flavor to it that is... There are a decent amount of fun moments in the movie. I don't know if I'd ever be watching this again, but I liked the film as a film. But fuck Brian Peck. So there you go. With that said, thanks for watching, take care, and I may take a break tonight from reviewing because I did Clown House and this at this back to back, and my brain needs to, I need to put this right into my brain. Like that movie Brain Damage. I need that Elmer juice. Just right in there. Just don't have Zachary telling me in my brain to do it. I think it was Zachary, right? Can't fucking remember. I do like Brain Damage. They've hit a lot of film. Anyway. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.